Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So today we're heading to Standard to check out one of my favorite decks, maybe my favorite overall deck, to come out of Pro Tour Eldritch Moon this weekend. This is Legendary Naya. So this one didn't really get on camera, didn't make the top 8, but put up a pretty decent performance, and the deck is super sweet. So this specific build, I'm giving credit to Nick Ball for, although there was a whole team, I think 6 players on the deck. Nick Ball was just the first name that popped up when I was searching for a list. So congrats to Nick, but congrats to everyone, all 6 people that were on this deck, because the deck is super sweet, and I think it's very cool. A quick reminder before we break down Legendary Naya, if you enjoy this deck and want to see it made into videos, take a minute, click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, anything you can do to support your deck, because whichever deck is most popular gets a shot at being made into videos next week. So Legendary Naya is all about Thalia's Lancers, the 5-mana 4/4 with first strike, so a pretty good body on its own, that whenever it enters the battlefield, you get to tutor for a legendary card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So that is kind of the whole idea of this deck, is to play a bunch of really powerful, evasive one-ofs that you can search up with your Thalia's Lancers for any situation you might need. I also threw Sylvan Advocate and Tireless Tracker on the slide. The main reason they're here is because they are the only other creatures in the main deck that you can't tutor up with Thalia's Lancers, so they're just efficient and good, and as you will see as we go through the rest of the slides, the rest of the deck is pretty expensive. You got a lot of 5 drops, 6 drops, 7 drops, so you really need your Sylvan Advocate and Tireless Tracker to help you stay alive while you're putting together a really powerful late game thanks to tutoring up these things with Thalia's Lancers. So what can you search up with Thalia's Lancers? Well, one thing is either half of the Bracella Voice of Nightmares meld. So you can get a Gisela the Broken Blade, the Mini Baneslayer Angel, gains you some life, an evasive threat. You can also search up Bruna the Fading Light, which is another really big flyer, a 5/7 with Vigilance. When you cast it, you get to return an angel or human from your graveyard to the battlefield. So that means you can return your Thalia's Lancers, for example, to tutor up something else. You can also return your the other half of the Mel Combo in Gisela the Broken Blade. So you can tutor up a Gisela, the Gisela dies, then you tutor up the Bruna, cast the Bruna, get back the Gisela, then you flip around into Bracella Voice of Nightmares, and Bracella is really difficult to beat. Other things you can search up include Nissa Vastwood Seer, another one of the cards that helps you get to actually casting all of your expensive creatures, searches up a land when it enters the battlefield, plus it's technically a planeswalker that you can tutor up with Thalia's Lancers, which is nice, a lot of value if the game goes long. Archangel Avacyn can save your entire team, flips around into an even bigger threat, can deal some damage, wipe away some little creatures. A lot of your creatures are big, so if you're playing a more aggressive deck, flipping Archangel Avacyn can be a wrath. And then Sigarda Huron's Grace is kind of a weird one. We haven't really seen this one in Standard much, but it's an interesting tutor target because if you get a long attrition-y game, the pay 2 and exile a card from your graveyard to get a 1/1 can actually be pretty relevant, plus it has a decent flying body on its own. And then moving up the chain, you get Dragonlord Dramoka and Linvala the Preserver to gain you a bit of life, help keep you alive. Dragonlord Dramoka and Linvala the Preserver, one of the reasons you're able to get away with playing so many expensive things, because once you stick one of those, you're likely going to gain back a lot of the life you lost while being slower than your opponent. Dragonlord Dramoka also fights against counter spells and instant speed tricks since your opponent can't cast things on your turn. And then Linvala sometimes comes along with an additional 3/3 Angel, as well as potentially gaining you 5 life. And then finally, last but not least, when you really need to put the game out of reach, you can get Dragonlord Atarka to wrath away your opponent's stuff, can kill a planeswalker if need be. So that is kind of the creature package. The rest of the deck is fairly typical Naya mid-range. You get Oath of Nissas, can help fix your mana for a couple of planeswalkers, one Nahiri, one Chandra Flamecaller, and then some removal, Declaration in Stone, Stasis Snare, very unconditional. Stasis Snare is nice because it's instant speed, also deals with the Emrakul the Promised End at instant speed, very important, and then a couple of Tragic Arrogances to wipe away a ton of stuff but keep your stuff alive. In the mana base, a bunch of dual lands, And then a Needle Spires is a creature land, Evolving Wilds, and I bet you know what comes after Evolving Wilds. A bunch of basics to search up with the Evolving Wilds, including 5 forests, so you got plenty of targets for Nissa searching up forests. In the sideboard, a bunch more removal, and then a couple of Gideons, a couple more Nahiris as part of the sideboard plan, and a single Emrakul the Promised End, the biggest and baddest of all the Eldrazi in Standard, and then a Suruk the Hunt Caller, which is kind of sweet. If you have a Suruk on the battlefield and you cast an Emrakul, for example, you can haste in that Emrakul right away because Emrakul is going to turn on Formidable. Then you just target the Emrakul with the haste ability. Boom, you hit your opponent for a ton of surprise damage. Pretty nice synergy there. Anyway, that is Legendary Naya for Standard. Deck looks super sweet. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. That's been our instant deck for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.